And welcome, folks, to another edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown, focused on the offense with Al Borges. We are back, unfortunately, after a loss.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's a loss. Here's the thing: losses don't make you any less gorgeous, Al. I would have thought it would have affected the gorgeousness of Al, but it doesn't.
I'm 69 years old today, Sam, and just as good as when I was 19 years old. Good looking as I when I was 19 years old. Nothing's changed, okay?
Nothing's changed. The quarterback at Michigan has changed for the third time. So obviously we'll be digging into that.
Yes, we
Uh,
will.
we'll be digging into that and into wait. You said it's your birthday? It's your birthday, Al? You're taking
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah.
wait, I just skipped over that. You slipped that in. I was getting into my normal spiel because I like to talk. And I was thinking about my next thought. And I heard you say it's your birthday. How old
Now,
are you, Al Borges?
Sam, it's Tuesday, okay?
But it's your birthday, Al.
Well, yeah, that happens to fall on Tuesday.
Happy birthday, Al.
Well, thanks,
Still a,
Sam.
it's still a heartbreaker over there. How about that?
What are you going to do, Sam? Some guys just got it. I don't know. Of course, you probably wouldn't know anything about that, but
All right. Happy birthday, Al. Happy
thank
birthday.
you.
A lot of birthday wishes coming in from the folks over there on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. By the way, super chats. We do have super chat going on YouTube right now by popular request. So we'll see how super chats go on YouTube today. We're trying that out for the first time, see how that goes this week on YouTube. By the way, the film session going to be an interesting one this week as we uh, broke down the Alex Orji portion, which was 18 snaps, over to the Jack Tuttle usage as well, and what we think is going to be the Jack Tuttle era moving forward. Like
It would appear, yeah.
yeah, pretty clear that the transition is happening. We think it should. This is the way it should go because it feels like this is the offense that is more suited to, from a play call perspective, more suited to what they want to be.
Yeah,
It,
closer to what they've done, right? Yeah, I would
closer
say that
closer
too.
to what they were from a play
Yeah,
call perspective. I
correct.
keep stressing that. Don't want to give any impression that I'm saying that this is like last year's offense. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying from a play call perspective, this gets them closer to what they were last year from a play call perspective. So I think that this is a signal from a play call perspective that Jack Tuttle gets them closer to where they want to be. So we will dig into that. The film studies go up tomorrow. They are available on autograph. See the beautiful autograph, my autograph locker, beautiful autograph.
Look like Vanna White, Sam.
Yeah, my man Tom Brady hooked me up. He sent me a locker and my whole man. I got my hat from Tom Brady and my box from Tom Brady. I was like,
You
Tom,
looking
my man
smooth.
Tom is hooking
Yeah,
me up.
you're looking smooth.
My man Tom is hooking me up, man. He said, "Ah, man, he said, Sam, you need a locker. You in the locker room, you need a locker." It's like, okay, Tom, cool.
Gotta
No,
like it.
the film studies needed a home, and Tom Brady and his crew at Autograph were happy to provide a home for the film studies, which allowed for the film studies to continue for free.
Free,
You, the viewer,
good price. Yeah.
right? Free is a good price. We wanted
Yeah.
to continue to bring them to you for free, stress free. People say a guy said, "Hey, that whole first few minutes of the breakdowns, that's unnecessary fluff." It's not unnecessary fluff. I put them here for a reason. People want to know where the film studies are. You find them on the Autograph app, which is available on Android and iOS. And I put it here because that's what pays the bills. See, gorgeous, it takes money for Al to be that gorgeous, right? And doing film studies for free ain't cutting it. So enter Tom Brady and the crew at Autograph.
Thank you,
That's
Tom.
That's what allows us to continue to provide the film studies for free. And we hope that the film studies are illuminating, that they're enlightening, that they're edifying, that they educate you in ways that you are educated otherwise, right? That you get a deep dive into the X's and O's. As a matter of fact, I know you are. You learn things in the film studies that you wouldn't otherwise get. And so now you can find those film studies exclusively on the Autograph app. You can download them, as I said, Android and iOS. I'm gonna put the QR code on the screen so you can download the film study. Or excuse me, so you can download the Autograph app right now just by scanning it. This is very, very simple. Okay, folks. I'll put it on the screen right now. Al can even do that. That's tell you how
I
simple.
can do that. That's what I can do.
You know, and Al is a
Technological moron. I'll finish that sentence.
See, I wasn't even going to call you a moron. I was
Well, I got to be honest.
like a neophyte.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to soften it up a little bit for you, Al. But if you want to call yourself a moron,
Well, and this stuff, I got to admit, I'm a little behind time.
I'm not one to disagree with you, Al, if that's what you want to do. But
I
here you go, folks.
Validated either, though, Sam. For goodness sakes.
I'm just one to agree with those who want to offer up analysis like that. But scan that QR code, Android and iOS. Download the Autograph app. The film studies go up Wednesdays before noon Eastern time. All right, and this one will be educational about the Alex Orji usage, which Al, you found this to be the most coherent. While it may not have been very productive from a point standpoint, you found from a plan standpoint, you thought it was the most coherent plan that they had for Alex Orji, right? Which we'll get into in more detail here coming up. But you thought it was the most coherent plan, right? That they have.
I did. Yeah, I thought, he's in there 18 plays, 18 snaps, too. Well, that was a defensive offsides and a false start. So he really only played 16 snaps. But for those 16, I thought they were directed just to the skill set. I really liked the way it was set up. I just don't think, they were down 14-0. They weren't feeling it, so they made a change. I understand all that. But at that point, I think he really didn't make many mistakes. He had a couple balls tipped, but he did pretty good.
Yeah, and so then they make the switch over to Jack Tuttle, and he gives them a jolt immediately and leads them on 3 straight scoring drives. And like I said, I think it while it took them 3 weeks to get closer to a plan that seems like, I keep saying it took them 3 weeks to get to, I think, the running plan that was suited to Alex Orji.
Yes.
And I think once you get the running plan down, now you got to get the passing plan down. See, I think when I hear you talk, Al, I'm hearing, okay, this makes sense from how do you run them, and now you start to figure out how do you start to piece together some sort of passing menu off of this. And that process was still underway and still not fully developed. Well, you already have some idea of what's going to work with Jack Tuttle, and you can see it right from jump. As soon as he gets on
yeah, his skill set's a lot like the guys they've been playing. So it's a natural to really kind of continue on the things that they've done.
Yeah, he's able to move it right away. So you can see all of that in the film study. I'm going to take this QR code off the screen right now. For those who don't like to, and some of you don't like to download or scan QR codes, I get it. Some of you are like, hey, that's wrought with issues. Fine. Here is a link for you to put in to be able to download the app. Very, very simple. link.ag.fan/Sam Webb. Again, folks, link.ag.fan/Sam Webb to get the Autograph app. I'm going to put it on the screen right now as well for you to be able to get the Autograph app, download it. That's your pathway to not only being able to get the film studies on Wednesdays, but all of the other offerings that they have over at Autograph. And the great thing about the free offerings at Autograph, whether it's our free content from the MichiganInsider.com. And I stress only our free content, our VIP content at the MichiganInsider.com. You still got to go to our site for that. But all the free blogs and free podcasts, and of course, our exclusive film studies. When you view those things over on Autograph, you accrue points, and then you can redeem those points for rewards over on the Autograph app for tickets and things like that, which are a great thing. So be sure to take advantage. And a bit of a pivot, we are doing the Buckeye Breakdown. We are still fundraising for the Buckeye Breakdown that we're going to do in the bye week. I'm thinking that right now we'll gauge your responses, your reactions. We're definitely going to do the Buckeye Breakdown next week for that bye week, and we'll see how you guys are feeling to see if you want the second one. Right now, based on your reaction, I don't know if you guys are going to want the second one, but we're definitely going to do the first one as scheduled, as promised. All right. But let's go ahead and get into this week's breakdown. And by the way, super chats are enabled on YouTube. So if you have a question for Al or a comment for Al, super chats will boost you to the top. But Al, let's start with your thoughts to start the game on the usage of Alex Orji, because a lot of folks were like, well, if they hadn't started Alex Orji in this game, it would have been totally different. And it was, he was terrible to start this game. He was bad to start this game, and he didn't look good at all. What did you think of Alex Orji and the plan for him in the 16 snaps or the 18 snaps that he played and the 16 snaps that he actually they didn't include penalties?
Well, I didn't think he did that bad. First play of the game was an OT read that went 7 yards. That was a play that he could have pulled. And what they did, I think, is almost every run they ran gave him the ability to pull the ball. He ran a naked shallow cross, gained 6 yards a second play. He should have pulled a power play. They ran a little power at a gun. I think he should have pulled. That was one error. He hit a 6-yard completion for a little pocket movement spider pass, ran a quarterback split zone for 5 yards. Then the drive kind of stalled because of they ran another naked pass and only gained 1, and then they took a shot at a flea flicker, which has been a great play for them in the past, but they covered it good. There was really no one to throw it to. And then the third down and 5 was an incomplete pass, forcing a punt. But that was a 10-play drive, a 8-play drive if you don't include the penalties. If you do include the penalties, I should say. What he got hurt with, Sam, which is kind of unfortunate, is a couple of tip balls that were potentially big plays, or not, change movers, if you will. He had a play pass where he was throwing an over route that was really wide open, and he got the ball tipped. Now, he's kind of a low sling guy anyway. He's very quick release, but he's kind of a low sling. The guy tipped it, and that hurt the drive. That was on the second play of the second drive. A little play pass with a Y coming over the top. And then his last play was 3rd and 7. They had a little follow route where he picked the single coverage matchup outside, which was a good decision. The guy was way off, and they tipped the ball again. And so they had 2 drives kind of stopped on tip balls, which for a quarterback is very hard to control. If you start thinking about throwing it higher or any of that stuff, all that garbage, people say, oh, high release. No, he'll throw the ball over a lot because that's not his natural throwing motion, okay? So those were unfortunate. But in terms of things they asked him to execute, particularly with the run game, he didn't do too bad a job. I do understand, though, why they made the change, because they were in dire need of an infusion of enthusiasm. And at that point in the game at 14-0, I think going to Jack was not a bad idea at all. So I think what he did was good. I don't think it was it just probably dictated a change, and really for a while turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah, so just to show you that we weren't totally out in left field with what we were saying about the usage plan, because in week 1 of Alex Orji, they had some of those +1 runs in there, and I think he averaged like 7 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But in week 2, there were no quarterback runs.
No.
And when I say quarterback runs, just so folks understand the distinction, I'm talking about called quarterback runs, not a read option, not an improv play where he pulls it down on a pass play and runs the football. A called quarterback run, like a quarterback power or a quarterback pin and pull, or it's like, hey, he's running the ball and a running back is blocking for, like Mullings is blocking for him, or Bredesen is blocking for him. Called quarterback run. There were none of those in his second start. But like out the gate against Washington, like you saw those back on the menu. So it's
Yeah.
like clearly what we were saying wasn't out of left field. Like,
Yeah, they ran a quarterback split zone that was really kind of slick. They faked the ball to Mullins, and he came back and did the split zoning, and then the guy coming across took the next guy outside and hit it for about 5 yards. And then they ran a quarterback counter later on that was a good call, good play, gained about 6 or 7 yards. So they were getting into it, and I think had the game stayed, even, you probably would have seen more of it, and who knows, maybe they'd have got a little inertia and it'd have gone. But at that point, I kind of see why they did what they did.
yeah. So that's why I say, they were developing the run plan. The run plan was still developing, and maybe they had gotten to the point where, all right, the feel for how to run them was coming together. It felt like they had a read on most of the plays where he could have pulled almost every play down. By your estimation, you feel like he could have run on almost all the plays, right? That about
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
there were some opportunities there to take off. I felt kind of bad for him because I think they gave him some things that he just through circumstances he couldn't take. Like I say, tip balls were a factor and getting a little behind the chains. But the plan for him, I really didn't have any issue with at all. I think it was spot on. It just didn't get going enough.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, just one of those things. But then they make the switch, Al. So they go to Tuttle, and so give me your thoughts on once they went to Tuttle. First, the plan that they had for Tuttle, and what you thought of the plan they had for him, and any differences there, and then the execution of that plan by Tuttle once he was in the game.
well, he gave him a little infusion of enthusiasm because he was kind of early on anyway. He was kind of doing some JJ-esque stuff. Okay, he he gave him a new life, running the ball and passing the ball. Now you got to remember with Jack, he hadn't played in a long time, so there's going to be some growing pains there. But the thing that I told you in the I text you, I believe, right? I told you that he looked composed. He did not look like he was uh, in awe of the situation. So he did a nice job. He made some nice throws. He made a beautiful third down play on a dig route to the X receiver to keep the chains moving one time. But he was composed. He handled when he felt pressure, he moved. Now one time, even on the touchdown run, he moved probably before he should have because he turned down a wide open Marlon Klein. It was shallow crossing. Nobody covered him. They blew the coverage, but he made up for it by buying some time and then hitting a Loveland off a scramble. But he looked like he'd played before. He didn't look like this guy. Oh, here's some neophyte that comes to the game and going, oh man, we're in trouble. This guy's going to go through hell before he figures it out. He didn't look that way at all. And he used the people around him, the play calling. I think both backs had like 15 touches, around 15 touches apiece. So that part of it helped him too. And Donovan had a long run that was a positive, but still we got to figure out a way to get more explosives in the passing game. That's what's really, and when you look at the total yardage figures at the end, they're always going to be pedestrian because there were no big plays in the passing game. But I think, and again, I'm not sure, but I think Tuttle will give them the ability to hit more explosive plays. And I still believe, like I said before, I think Edwards has got to be used more out on the flank because he can manufacture some of those opportunities. So I liked what he did for not playing as long as for not being in there for so long. He kind of hit the ground running for a while, but then at the end, some of the not playing stuff kind of showed up. He threw slightly behind leveling on the interception, which hurt him, and then he fumbled the ball. And again, that's something when you haven't played in a while, Sam, and you don't get hit in practice, then all of a sudden you get in a game and they're trying to kill you. Those things tend to happen. So, but it's a great starting point for him, and if they're going to build what they want to do around him, I think you're going to see progress from him every week because I think his experience is going to take hold.
Yeah, he gives you some of the elements of both quarterbacks.
He does.
I think that's the allure, part of the allure. Of course, he gives you way more experience than both guys. 7th-year senior, he started games. So he's a grizzled vet, but he gives you some of the passing proficiency of Davis, right? But then he gives you some of the run stuff that Alex gives you. So he's a threat that defenses have to respect in the run game as well. So teams, when in read option scenarios, so he pulled the duo read and got a first down.
Yes.
He pulled the duo read and got a first down. So now some of those run lanes that quarterbacks the running backs were getting with Alex on the field, they're still going to get some of those too. And by virtue of Jack Tuttle's running ability, but also they're going to get some of it by virtue of his passing ability too. He's going to give you elements of both pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, I think they feel more of a threat with Jack as a runner. The defense feels a little more. It's not huge, but it's enough to keep them from just closing down on every single run and canceling gaps and saying, "Hey, quarterback, pull the ball. We don't care." I don't think they can really do that with Jack. So that's an advantage to the running game.
Yep. And then he gives you that improv. Sometimes on third down, your quarterback, does he have the make it right ability? With Alex, he was able to just scramble for a first down here or there. Didn't really have any of the sort of improv skill with Davis. You didn't really see it at all. With Jack Tuttle, you're going to see him be able to maybe scramble for some of those yards or do what he did on a touchdown play where he extended the play and threw for a touchdown.
Yeah, so the big plays come more on the scramble pass than the scramble run, unless you've got just a great runner. If you've got a great runner like Dunn was or whatever, now the scramble run can be a real factor. But most quarterbacks, more often than not, are going to create their big plays off of scramble passes where people are falling off coverage. He keeps his eyes up, picks a receiver out that somehow has found himself open against a broken coverage. Those are where the big ones come, and I think Jack can give you that.
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound like it's a panacea, but it's like I said, as options go, this is much more a comfort zone. It's much more familiar. It's much more in line with where they were from a play call perspective. And it as far as masking deficiencies, some of the deficiencies they have at receiver, deficiencies they have at offensive line, while also accentuating the positives that they have at running back and tight end. I mean, Jack Tuttle seems to give them the best shot at doing all of those things.
Yeah. And I will say this, too, that I think from an offensive line perspective, although Percy was not great, but he probably warranted an opportunity to be one of the two starters at the tackles. He was solid enough to where I think he's probably going to be considered somewhere in there. I thought Jihadi played pretty well at right guard, maybe his best game. And so that again, one thing I learned, when coordinated, if you're still playing the Lido shuffle with the offensive line 6 games in, you're probably having some problems. When pretty much the same guys played the whole year, those were the best years. And that's kind of the way it's been with Michigan in the past.
Yeah, it's a tough deal. It's a tough deal for, there are a couple of pass plays for Alex that he had in there where it's like, man, you can see where he wanted to go with the ball, and he got pressure and couldn't make the play. But that's the job.
Yeah.
Like right now, you got to be able to make plays with pressure.
Yeah.
You be able to make plays with pressure.
Yeah, the
You,
great quarterbacks find a way to get it done, Sam.
yeah,
Somehow, some way, get it over them, wrist throw it. Hell, some guys throw it. I see more sidearm throws now than I've ever seen in my life, but they find a way to throw the ball around the defense in a spot where the receiver can catch it. Or they're able to buy time to make a play that you didn't necessarily draw on the board. So that all goes with the position, you know.
well, it goes with the position that this offense is in right now, and to the extent that you can make some of those plays, you got to maximize that. And we saw Jack Tuttle do that more in this game, but you gotta cut down on as many of those as you can from an offensive line perspective, which is why I'm with you. Like Jack Percy or Jeff Percy, excuse me. I mean, I think you got to give him a shot at once Miles Hinton comes back. You got to. It's one of those deals where he can't be worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you got to give him a shot on the other side, whether it's Hinton on the other, whoever, whether you flip sides or what. Somebody else needs to get a shot at right tackle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you need to put whoever you think the better pass protector is at left tackle and make it competitive at right tackle. I think, and Percy, I think, justifies that.
Yeah, because he's acquitted himself well enough at left tackle to get that shot. I would say, he's made a few mistakes, but
Yeah, but
who hasn't made a few mistakes up front
no,
at this point?
No, he wasn't a blatant liability by any means. So I think, let's see how it goes.
Yep. So they found themselves, Al, and we're going to be getting to the Q&A session here after the grades. But they found themselves in a position after 3 consecutive scores to maybe put a stranglehold on this thing, and they had missed opportunities.
Oh yeah.
You think about the cut where Donovan slipped.
That was painful. Yeah, we're gonna show that in the film study. It's too bad. Oh my goodness, he'd still be running.
He'd still be running. He saw it, and it was blocked well. This is one of the times where the offensive line blocked it extremely well, and he saw it, but he slipped. And then the defensive line actually got the ball back after. I mean, the defense actually got the ball back after that, and then the offense turned it right back over. So 2 late turnovers. The missed maybe touchdown by Donovan, and those are missed opportunities, and mistakes on the road are going to get you beat.
Yeah, and you just got to take advantage of every opportunity you get. Now you can't have that happen, and I know that's easy to say because those things do happen, but really good teams can have that happen and recover. Good offensive teams, they still recover, but this team is not in that position yet. So every time it's blocked well and there's a hole in the defense, you got to gain yards. That play was a play that was going to get to the third level of the defense. And God knows what would happen with Edwards once he gets. But you know what? Hell, he's not trying to slip. He's not trying to fall. He's trying to make a play. So you can point your finger at him, I guess, but that can happen to anybody. But I think after the first 3 drives is when things kind of got, a little dry. The play 45 through 47 they were 3 and out twice. Now that's bad in itself, but it killed the inertia that they had, because I really was thinking at that time, and I think you were too, the Jack Tuttle move really was looking good. You know what I mean? You're going, oh my goodness. But it kind of killed the inertia. And then it was followed up by, I believe, a 5-play series that where there was a fumble. And then another 6-play series that ended in an interception. So they got to build on the success and keep it going, particularly playing on the road, because then you can quiet the crowd. But it just didn't work out that way.
Mm-hmm. All right, folks, if you have questions for Al, put them in the chat. If you're on YouTube, deliver them with Super Chat. Then you'll move to the top of the list over on YouTube. Folks, right now, though, it is time for Al's grades. And so, Al, we'll start with your grades with the quarterbacks, and then work your way from there.
Yeah, I mean, as a duo, I would give it from a C plus to a B minus because the turnovers kind of killed me. You know what I mean? And again, Orji tip balls. How do you control it? I don't know. But Tuttle did a nice job, until the end. So I can't really. I hesitate to give him anything better than a C plus. But he played pretty darn good when it was all said and done. The running backs were solid as hell. I gave him a B to B minus. It wasn't, other than Donovan's run, it wasn't prolific, but there were some plays they made that were very nice. The offensive line actually did a better job, I thought, of punching holes in the defense for some smaller gains. They weren't, they had a couple plays which we're going to illustrate where they got in the backfield, but for the most part, there was some nice things. But again, you can't give them any better than a C. The offense is just not gaining the kind of yards, and the pass protection is not consistent enough to give them a better than that. Again, the wide receivers, really no explosive plays. I gave them a C. The tight ends I thought were pretty good. Loveland, who's not doing as much inline blocking as he was earlier. And Sam, earlier he was becoming better and better, getting better and better at inline blocking, but I think because of injury has not been used as much. And that's a little painful sometimes, But he had come along. Tight end coach has done a really good job with him. But I gave them a B. But for the offense, it's a average to below average performance when you can't score more than 30 points and you can't get 300 total yards. It's just not where they need to be.
No doubt, some work to do. It was a good time for a bye week, especially when you're switching quarterbacks again and you're about to face an Illinois team that is better than I expected them to be. They have a challenging defense that seems to really have rediscovered what they were a couple of years ago. I mean, they play a unique scheme. They do some exotic things defensively. We started talking about them a couple of years ago when they had all those horses on defense, led by Devin Witherspoon, and Maran Walker was on the ones and twos, calling the defense back then. Obviously, the head coach at Purdue now, and now they're back to it again. They're at Illinois, really getting some things done there on the defensive side of the football. And so Michigan switching quarterbacks, having 2 weeks to prepare for that is a good thing. But going to be a tough game for them.
Tough game. Yeah, this won't be an easy one, Sam. They play a hard-nosed style, okay, much like Michigan does. So it's going to be a lot of smash mouth. But I think it's going to come down to the ability to create a few explosive plays, pick up some crucial third downs, keep those chains moving, and give our backs more chances to carry the football.
Yeah, man, they do crazy things. They'll give you like a man or like a cover 3 look, and they'll have someone over a slot, and then at snap of the ball, they'll split.
Blow out there to half coverage.
They'll go out there to cover 2, and it's like
the difference is, Sam, is that most teams disguise their coverage from a split safety look. They'll either roll the safety down and or spin them one way or the other. But generally, it's these guys. Most of their coverages start with a 1 high look, and will play 2 deep from a 1 high look. So it's kind of reverse of what you're accustomed to, and that can throw the quarterback off a little bit. So but they got 2 weeks to study it. That helps.
Yep. So again, this is. It's good that it's a veteran guy, a 7th-year guy to help give these guys some calm and a rudder. You got a lot of veterans on this defense to help hold them together, because the worst thing you do, you lose games, and a game you felt like you should have won. Of course, morale starts to creep in, and especially when one side of the ball struggles more than another. Defense had their share of struggles, make no mistake.
Yeah.
But one side of the ball struggles more than the other. That it's ripe for finger pointing to start. I'm not saying that happens, but this is when your leaders need to
take charge. That's right. Yeah. And I'm going to say this, Sam, in the 30 years I coordinated offense, there were only a couple of times where our offense was just as good as our defense, or vice versa. We had years our defense was better. We had years the offense was better. But it's in years like this where one side's struggling that you find out who your leaders are and what they're all about, and the coach's ability to keep the team together regardless of the circumstance. It's not easy to do. But if you're going to have a good season, you're going to have to understand the problems of the other side of the ball, regardless of who it is, and do your best to help them, and do your best to encourage them when things aren't going the way you'd like them to go. That's what team ball is all about. That's something that a lot of times is lost, not only by players, sometimes by coaches. Okay, but I think that tests your real team, whether you're a team-oriented person or not.
All right, let's go ahead and get to the questions for Al. Again, if you are on YouTube, if you go to Super Chats, we will move to the top. But let's start first with Brandon the Abbott. Says, if Tuttle comes in after the bye week and continues to turn the ball over, do we just finish out the year with him, Coach Borges?
Well, it depends on what extremes it goes to. I mean, no, they're not going to let him play if he keeps throwing interceptions or fumbling. But remember now, that's his first time out for a while, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel in his game. His ability to move in the pocket, his ability to throw the football, and I'm sure he knows the offense well enough to manage all the components of the offense. So I think no, you don't. But you may have a turnover. You're not going to panic and take him out of the game. But if it reaches certain extremes, yeah, you're probably going to have to do that.
All right, on to the next one. Let's see. Adam Shepardson, this is more a comment. It's Tuttle time. He must play and hopefully get comfortable through the bye week. I'm hopeful again. I think that's the emotion that Sharon was with the team.
Yeah. It gives you a little shot in the arm. It makes you feel like, okay, here's a different guy. Let's see what we can do. And that position, dictates so much of what happens in a game, good or bad, that when they show some positive things, the team has hope and you feel like you can get it done now.
All right. Let's go on to the next one. This one, Boltsville said, needs to get more passes to Dono. Kamara has always been my comparison. Use him like they use him, talking about Kamara in the pass game, then truck the ball with Khalil Mullings.
I agree. I can't disagree. And I think not just passes to Donovan, but passes down the field some to him too. Not just bubbles and those types of things. Those are good. Don't get me wrong. But Samaj Morgan does some of that and does it well. I'm thinking more in terms of sending him vertical, sending him on sail routes, sending him on shallow crosses, let him run halfback options, and those types of things. I think would be good. It would serve them well, and it'll give another big play guy a chance to get the ball.
Play call stuff. Southwest Lion 26. More motion, misdirection, QB under center, play action. There's just too much that's telegraphed. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, a little bit of all of it. I think. The one thing about under center play is it does give you more gross reads, gross run looks on play action passes. That's a good thing about under center play with regard to the passing game, anyway. So I think some of that misdirection. They are misdirecting some. You can always misdirect more, but. That's always good because it can tend to mesmerize the defense, and that helps you get an advantage sometimes when you're trying to block some guy. He steps one direction, and then you can cut him off because he did. So all that stuff's good, and I think it's got to be included in the plan.
All right. Back to Voltsville. It's a follow-up. It says, I'm curious if this affects anything or not, but should Kirk call the game from the field instead of the box? Not sure if that would make any difference. How did you feel about that, Al?
I did both. I did both. I did 23 years on the field, and I did about, I think, 6 or 7 in the box. There were checks and balances to both of them. If you got a young quarterback, an inexperienced quarterback, sometimes it is better, I think, and that's usually when I would do it, would go onto the field because sometimes he needs, you got that face-to-face interaction and you get a good feel for whether he's falling apart or not. There's certain things that are advantages. In the box, it can kind of like be a video game, and you can see everything and you can set all your stuff up. And most guys are a little less emotional. I wasn't, but most guys are a little less emotional in a box. So I don't. It's all. And I've heard the purists, and I've argued with guys before. Oh, you got to go in the box to blow in. Wait a minute. There's a lot of very good play callers that call the game from the field. Okay, I can name several, but so it's not a must. Okay, but I think it's what his comfort level is, and again, how experienced is a quarterback.
All right, on to the next one. Eric Morris on YouTube says, if Orji added a pump fake, he would move the chains. Talk about those bad calls.
You laugh. I kind of laugh at that, but there are some times, where I used to say this. I used to say the quarterback has a magic wand, and it's his right arm. He can get 11 defenders to move if he just lifts it, and then pumps it, and they'll all either jump or, they'll pick up his eyes, try and jump in front of a throw or something. But it's something that you got to use, not abuse. There's times you could probably use it. I call it flagging the defense. You can flag the defense, and as long as you don't lose timing, it can be a weapon, but it's not something you want to always use.
Adam Shepardson on YouTube says, Orji didn't have the turnovers because the coaches didn't trust him to throw a guy open downfield. That was glaring. If Orji had attempts downfield, we'd have a better comparison.
I think that's in part true, yes. But he actually did have a couple downfield throws. One, both got tipped. So they were called, and one was in the middle of the defense. I've been screaming for more ball throws in the middle of the defense, and he threw one, but they tipped both of them. So were there a lot of them? Nope. But there were a couple that where they didn't get. He threw it and they tipped it, and that was in that. But
gotcha. All right, Andres Martinez on YouTube says, Al, was Tuttle supposed to throw the go ball on the play that ultimately resulted in a fumble? It looked like a good 50-50 opportunity on the TV copy.
Yeah, I think let me check my chart here. On the fumble was Pat Max Z over. Yeah. They were pressing. I can't remember who the receiver was on the right side, and the over was covered. Okay. They were in cover 4, and the outside receiver was singled out. So the best shot was to take the deep ball. Okay. And I think he was protected well enough to do that because he ended up running up underneath the protection, and they knocked the ball out. Well, you saw what happened. But I think the best option on that play was the deep ball.
Andres Martinez on top of it. Look at that. We have some very astute fans.
They're on it, Sam. They're on it.
Yeah, some of you are on it. Some of you are on it.
Well, we don't get Joe Schmatz in this thing, so we get pretty much guys with a clue.
Yeah. All right. This is an interest. Smash the numbers. Ferris Khan said, Al, would you rather have your quarterback get 200 yards of passing and 2 turnovers, or 80 yards of passing and 0 turnovers?
What happened with the rest of the plays?
That's right.
I can't answer that question unless I know the result of the other plays. I mean, anytime there's 2 turnovers, I go, I don't want that. But hell, if you got 600 yards in a game, sometimes you can overcome 2 turnovers. So,
yeah, that's a good point. It's incomplete. Give me some other stats to color that. Michael Dunn on Facebook says, Al, what do we need to do for Tuttle to get more explosive plays?
I'll just say the same thing I've been saying is the way you get explosive plays. Make sure you know your matchups outside. Okay, and I'm talking about the passing game because from a run game perspective, we've had some explosive plays. Okay, we had one last game. But the best way to me is to attack the middle of the field. And that means post cuts with over routes, deep sails, those types of things create explosives, okay? Or get a fast guy out there that can run by somebody and just take it up on a deep ball. That's another thing. And a lot of times that play will at least get you some pass interference if you throw the ball in a catchable area. So I believe that's the best way to manage. That's a little risky, sometimes, but I just believe you have to call those plays without reservation and just say they're necessary. And the risk is worth it.
All right, let's go to the next one. This one comes from Eric Richards. How come the wide receivers have such a hard time getting open?
Well, you'd have to look at every individual play, but the key to getting yourself open is separation, okay? And separation requires craftiness sometimes. Separation requires spatial awareness in terms of attacking voids and zones. And sometimes it's just your ability to be precise with your routes. You don't necessarily have to be real fast, although I like fast guys. That's a great thing to have. But if nothing's been proven over the years, is there's been great wide receivers that have not necessarily been speed demons. So first of all, you gotta have to get your wide receivers where people are noticing them, you got to throw 28, 30 passes a game, which they have not been positioned to do of late. So how good are the receivers? They haven't done much, but the way the games have been, they haven't been featured much. So, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm not sure that's not the way it should be, but I don't know if that answers the question, but that is, I know that's how guys get open. Okay. And a good, clever receiver or a good spatially aware receiver has the ability to get open.
All right. On to the next question. Back to Ferris Khan. This is a good one. Al, should Tuttle be taught to not go head first instead of sliding? Too much risk of injury and turnovers.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ferris. I'm not a head first kind of guy. I think sliding is the answer. Head first gets you murdered, and it gets you targeted, and sometimes unintentionally targeted. But the best thing to do if you're going to give yourself up is to go feet first and slide, I believe.
All right. So Ben K. Ben, you got to send me the phonetic spelling of your name, so I don't mess it up. Send me the phonetic spelling of your name so I pronounce it right. Because you ask questions seemingly every week, so I need to be able to say your name correctly. Ben K asks, have you noticed any key adjustments on how they're using motion to create mismatches, particularly against teams stacking the box? Seemed different with Tuttle, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
Well, I haven't seen anything really significant. Now, a week ago on the interception, which was a wide open receiver, they exploited that matchup with Mount Motion perfectly. It didn't work out the way they wanted, but it was really well done. But I think that the more you do at that, the better you get at it, And if you got a guy that can get him the ball, which I think Tuttle can, I think that there's a spot for that, particularly with a guy like Edwards who can work out of the backfield, can start in the backfield, stay in the backfield, start in the backfield, motion out of the backfield. Those types of things are always good to get matchups, the matchups that you want. And I think they're going to do more and more of that because, again, they're just not getting enough explosive plays, and that gives them a chance to get one with him.
All right. On to the next question. This one is from Chance Heinbaugh. Appreciate your work, guys. Al, where do you think the biggest improvements need to be made to get through the rest of the Big Ten schedule?
I think we've alluded to most of it, continue to pound the ball like you have because the running game I still think is good. The improvement of the passing game is by far the thing that has to come the furthest to get them to be a formidable offense. The passing game has got to produce 200 yards passing a game, and that doesn't do it. And you don't have to throw the ball 34, 35 times to get 200 yards passing. You just have to be efficient with the times that you do. But I think that is the one thing that in the bye week they need to work on. Continue to do what you're doing with the running game, and I think you'll see the offense take a step.
All right. On to the next one. Nate the Great. Al, should Michigan be throwing to the running backs more for a high percentage throws out of the backfield? Not using the Dunn seems like a sin. You kind of touched on this a little bit.
Yeah, I did. And I think throwing the ball out of the backfield to Donovan and Samaj, which they did on a little bubble screen off a dual play, they did that in the game. That type of stuff's always good. But I still like the idea of getting Donovan down the field more, rail routes, corner routes. I mentioned them a little earlier. But that with all the little swing screens and all that stuff, I think will get him 5 more touches.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. Did I get? All right. Craypole. Ben Craypole. All right. I got it now, Ben. I'm going to have it committed to memory from this point on. Ben Craypole. not crap hole.
Yeah, Jiminy Christmas.
Hey man, my brain was fried that week. So fried. I was messing up all kind of stuff. So forgive me, Ben, for. But see, I was interested in getting it right.
You were, and that's good. That's good. You asked. You don't know, you ask, right?
Dan's name right.
Yeah.
So that's why I made it a point to ask.
Well, you
All
know
right,
what the problem with people are? They don't ask enough. They got answers already without asking. You get again. You're very seldom born with that knowledge, Sam. You have to ask.
that's right. All right, let's go back to the questions for Coach Borges. This one from Nala. Coach Borges is Sam. I'm hopeful. From what I saw, Amarion was getting separation from wide receivers in a long more from wide receivers separation from wide receivers group in a long time, especially against a good uh,
Secondary, I'm guessing.
secondary. Why
Yeah.
didn't they target him more or make his route the first read? So basically, why not target Amarion Walker more after seeing him catch that dig in there?
Well, I can't answer that. You don't. You'd have to ask them. But I did like what I saw. Again, a fast target with range. Okay, and not every receiver's like that. But if he can continue to do some of the things he did in the game, I'm sure you're going to see him targeted more.
Mm-hmm. All right. On to the next one. Trading with Rye. It's a very small sample size, but curious what Al's thoughts are on Amarion Walker. Does he think he has a spot in the offense, or does he prefer some other wide receivers over him? So, what are your thoughts on his talent level or
Well,
his?
I think he's probably overall more talented than any receiver they have out there. Sam, you got numbers on him. I don't
Yeah,
remember the numbers you gave, but you told me. How tall is he to start with?
6'3". He's
That's a good
6'3",
start. Yeah, that's a
190
really good start.
pounds, 6'3",
Yes.
190 pounds, legit mid 4.3s as a 40
Didn't he
guy.
have some incredible
Yeah, he's a
shuttle
like
that time?
he's like a 4.2, 4.1, really low fours in the shuttle. Freaky athlete, but uh, that doesn't. That's not all there is to being a receiver. So I want to
Thank you. Yeah,
stress
thank
that.
you. That's exactly right. Yeah,
I want
that's
to
not
stress
always good, but it is a good starting point.
a
I
great
like, yeah, yeah,
great.
I like that starting point. And when you're playing with basically two receivers, which is what they do, they play a lot with two receivers. Occasionally they'll put a third one in there, but they don't really play any 10 personnel. You like those big guys. When you're in pro style offense, unlike some of the red gun or the fast offense team, they'll take these little puny slots and all that, and they like those, and I like them too if they're efficient. But it's nice to have a guy with range on the flanks so that you can occasionally throw a ball up to, and he could take it away, especially if he's got speed.
All right, let's go back to this question about moving guys to different positions. Richard Williams wants to know, Al, what do you think about moving Donovan Edwards to receiver? He is fast. He has the best hands on the team. Also pulling Mullings full-time at running back and Orji as an H-back tight end. I think that would open up our offense with more playmakers. Put Tuttle or Davis at QB. What do you think?
I would not switch Donovan to wide receiver. I would make wide receiver part of his package. Okay, because he's just still too valuable with regard to big plays running the football. But I would put him. My instincts again. I work with him every day, so I don't. They know more than I do. But I would like him out there 15 to 20 snaps in some capacity, catching the ball, running swing routes or whatever, and decoying for other guys maybe, which that might help get some of the other guys open too. So, but literally moving him to receiver, I don't know that I'd do that, but I would certainly play him out there more. As in terms of Orgy as a tight end, he probably has the dimensions, but at this point, late point, I think that might be a little bit too late for that to expect to get any great productivity out of him. But who knows? You got a bye week, but their tight ends haven't been that bad, so I don't know if that's a liability.
All right. Here's a question from JSE, who's done a lot of complaining in here. So before I get to the question, JSE, here's what I'll tell you. Whether it's the site or the YouTube channel, you don't have to watch and you don't have to subscribe. That's what I tell the people. who have a problem with opinions or writings or how I do or how I feel about things. You don't have to watch me, read me, subscribe to me at all. You can go somewhere else. And I can keep doing what I do and you keep doing what you do. It's a free country. That's the great thing about
It's
America.
nice that way, isn't it?
It's nice that way, right? That way, if you don't appreciate the tone that we take or the tone that I take, you can go find a better tone elsewhere. And we're gonna keep doing the things the way that we do things around here.
Mhm.
Right? I think the approach that we take, the balance that we take, whether it's uh, the analysis that we offer, the critiques that we offer, and the respect that we show, because it ain't like we don't offer criticism. We do, but we are gonna go off and call, do all kind of name calling and all that kind of stuff. We aren't gonna do that. We're gonna show respect, but we're also gonna criticize. Because here is the difference. See, a lot of so a fan like you would say, if you are saying, "Oh, this guy is terrible, he shouldn't be here, get rid of him right now." That's your version of criticism. See, for us, he's like, "Hey, man, this guy, they need to figure out somebody else needs to be doing this job if that doesn't improve. They need to have better competition at this position, or listen, this position, they need to figure out how to get this guy more involved in the offense because to this point, they aren't doing a good enough job of getting him involved in the offense."
Mhm.
Now, you don't think that's criticism? Because I would say you aren't looking at my phone if you don't think that's criticism.
Yeah. How you present your argument makes such a difference.
Yeah,
When you
it's all
come across like you know it all,
yeah, yeah, and
then
that's the
generally
other
most people are going to say, "Hey, wait a minute now, you don't."
right
And
now,
usually, most of
and
the guys like that are after the fact guys rather than
right,
before the fact guys.
right, and so you want to. There's a level of respect that I'm always going to show with how we do this. Got too much respect for the people that we cover to go at it another way, but at the same time, we have a job to do. We aren't going to be dishonest about it. If if we if we were going to sugarcoat everything, then I wouldn't have the analysts that I do.
Right.
If we were sugarcoaters, would I have Vance Bedford on here? Would Devin Gardner be a regular? If that were the case, if that was the tone that we were taking, these would not be analysts on this channel.
No.
To your point.
Yeah.
So,
Analysts without an agenda, Sam. That's the key. Is
that's
that
so
at the end of the day,
I'm just saying that.
I like to see Michigan win because the
Yeah.
show goes better. But I will never sacrifice what I believe is right or wrong. Uh,
Exactly. And so that's my point. To And he had a series of messages in the chat. And I'm looking at it like, hey man, if you got that much of a problem with, you don't have to be here. You don't have to be here, but I'll entertain these messages for now, and I'll even put your question up on the board, which is, Al, why did someone that hasn't played in 7 years, like Tuttle, make moving in the pocket look so easy and fluid, and Orji, who is a runner, looks so off?
I never thought Orgy looked off. I think Tuttle did do some things seamlessly, and I think a lot of his experience was why he just looked like he'd been in the pocket before. And Orgy's still kind of a work in progress, but Orgy got out of some messes in the last 3 games. He did ran for a couple first downs, I believe. So I don't think and understand that every quarterback's pocket awareness is a little bit different, and I don't care how skilled you are. Okay, some guys are just unperturbed. Some guys are smooth as silk. Some guys are a little more herky jerky. I mean, I've had them all. I've watched them all. At the end of the day, you're evaluated based on your production. Period. All that other stuff's really nonsense. And if the production's good, you're probably going to continue to be the quarterback. When the production drops off, they're going to find somebody else. Simply enough.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Man, this is a good question from Ricky Chikati, I believe is how you say his name. I think I got that right on Facebook. Do you men feel like our production and wide receiver will hurt recruiting? Does any 4 or 5 star recruit want to come play at Michigan and become a glorified blocker? I absolutely. This is yes.
Yeah,
Not
I don't.
no.
You can't say it's not. It doesn't because
Yeah,
those guys want to see numbers, right? Yeah,
absolutely, it hurts recruiting.
yeah,
There's
absolutely.
just no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah,
It hurt them in the portal without question. There were guys they looked at in the portal that wouldn't give them a second look because of the receiver production, and it definitely was it was a tough road to hoe in recruiting. Now um, they were able to overcome it to a certain extent with Andrew Marsh, of course. But that magnifies the recruiting job that Ron Bellamy did getting that kid because I think that I think he's a top 25 talent. He's ranked. I think Andrew Marsh, his ranking is he's number 67 in the country according to 24/7 Sports, and I think he's underranked. I think he's better than that. Um, which I think again magnifies the recruiting job that was done there. But as they are out on the trail, um, as you see Jack Tuttle get in there, as you see them highlight their quarterbacks in current and future classes, I think one of the things that they're pushing is what our offense is going to look like moving forward is one that features more run pass balance.
correct. And I think that's what they want to get to. And when they've been good, that's what's happened. Okay, even a year ago, Roman's still playing, isn't he? I think in the NFL, and
Yeah, he got hurt with the Steelers, but
yeah, he
yeah.
got hurt. But CJ got a shot with the Chargers. I mean, the thing you don't have to throw. Receiver guy, they don't have to throw 50 times. Those offenses are usually, some of them are pretty good, some of them not as good. You want to be able to have balance. So, and I think that's when you talk to receivers, you got to talk about how we want to be balanced, and then we're gonna kill ourselves to reach that point. And it may not mean throwing exactly as many passes as we run. In some games, it might, but they just want to know they're going to be used and they're going to have an opportunity to showcase their skills. And if you can sell that and sell it with some evidence, telling them, hey, we've had these many guys in the NFL. Right now, we're struggling a little bit, but that's not what we're going to be. And then I have proof. I can show you that we got guys that have played in the NFL, and this is, I think that's your goal, and we're going to do our darndest to get you there.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we got a question that I wanted to get to earlier that wanted to make sure that we got to before we got out of here. And they wanted you to put your coordinator hat back on, Al, before we got out of here. Nate the Great on YouTube says, Al, how would you attack Illinois' defense? I don't know if
Well,
you remember how they attacked them before, but
yeah. Again, I'm going to go back and refresh my memory on that, but I have a pretty good recollection of what they do. Now, they played a lot of man-to-man coverage, a lot against Michigan. They don't only play man-to-man coverage. They play some split safety defense from low looks. Like I said, there'll be in one high and a guy over the nickel will blown out of there in a corner roll up. So they have those other looks, but they're more the exception than the rule. So if you're going to attack them, particularly with a drop back passing game, usually really three answers to attack in man to man, and that's either crossing routes, picks, or some form of rubs, or all of the above. You know what I mean? Those are always good ways to make their life as difficult. Make them defend the entire width of the field with crossing routes. Make them run through bodies with meshing receivers, and then exploit mismatches, because man to man means everybody's covering a man, and one of those guys isn't as good at covering somebody as the other guy is. So mismatches, crossing routes, and some form of mesh routes and such is always good. And then early downs, when you're a little more likely to get zone, although I don't know how much, I'd have to look at that, but take your shots. Like I said, the three-layered deep crossing routes behind post cuts, sail routes, those types of things, those are always good and hard to defend. And they're not bad against man-to-man either if you've got receivers that can get open. So Donovan would be a good guy to use in this game in that capacity. So all those things are ways to get after teams that want to play like that.
I seem to remember, even though Michigan isn't a big screen team, that Michigan hit them with a couple of screens a couple of years ago that went for nice yardage against them.
Yeah, what they did, Sam, if you recall, is they used the tight end to pick off the inside linebacker who was covering the back, and then slip the back in underneath the tackle and out to the left, I believe, on both screens. So, but they got a 2-for-1 exchange by walling off the inside linebacker, having his man chase him, and the back was out, on the screen with really an escort and nobody in front of him. So who knows? They may pull that one out of the archives.
Yeah, it certainly worked.
Yeah, oh God, big. Yeah, twice it worked. One really big.
Yeah, so maybe some variation of that. Given the level of success that they had.
They had a play in the game Saturday night where they threw the ball to Samaj Morgan on a bubble where I believe
look at this.
Orie was cracking.
Look at this. Steve,
that was it.
Look at Steve Horn paying attention too. He said we use a halfback screen to Corum twice in the game against Illinois 2 years ago.
Well, he's on it.
See, we got some listeners.
We did. But we threw one the other night. We threw one the other night off a duo play. We had a duo play, and they were late to respond to Samaj's motion, and they flanked him. They flipped it out there, and Orie took two guys with one, and that's just a prime example of another way to attack man-to-man. I think it gained 15 or 16 yards. But it was a run control. It wasn't a designed swing screen or anything, but it was a way to get after them in man coverage.
Yes. This has been another great session with you guys here on the breakdown. I think we got to most of your questions. There was one more in here. People, I missed it. I want to make sure I get to it before I get out of here. It was a general question. It's like, Al, are there things that can be done if you have receivers that are having problems getting open on their own? Are there things that you can do as a play caller to scheme them open? I can't seem to find the question, but there was a
that question was last week or 2 weeks ago, and I'll give it the same answer. I think number one is find a good matchup. See if you can find a good matchup where you think that receiver can beat, or stack your receivers and motion your receivers, and that can really get guys open. And a lot of times they'll bust, Sam. Like on the touchdown pass to Loveland, they put a guy in motion, and Klein was completely uncovered. Nobody picked him up because it wasn't communicated in man-to-man where the exchanges had to be. Okay, so that kind of stuff too can be confusing to the defense. Thank you for all the happy birthdays. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm older than dirt.
Aging like fine wine over there, Coach Borges. Aging like fine wine. Folks, I want to remind you that the film studies go up on Wednesdays, most of the time before noon, over on the Autograph app. If you aren't familiar with Autograph, it is available for free on Android and iOS. It is basically an app that aggregates all of the free fan offerings that you normally partake in. So the free blogs that you read, the free podcasts that you listen to, the free YouTube videos that you watch, and of course now exclusively available on the Autograph app, the free Michigan football film studies brought to you by the Michigan Insider crew with Al Borges and Vance Bedford. Available exclusively on the Autograph app, available on Android and iOS. You can download them by scanning this QR code that I'm going to put on your screen right now. So again, very, very simple to do. Just scan that QR code right there. and you'll be able to start enjoying all of those free offerings. And the great thing is that whether you're watching the film studies or reading those blogs or listening to those podcasts for free on Autograph, you are accruing points when you do it. And as you accrue those points, or once you accrue those points, you're able to redeem them for rewards over on the Autograph app. This is Tom Brady's company. A great idea that he had to reward fans for their loyalty as fans. It's a great idea by Tom Brady. Now, some of you don't like QR codes. I didn't know that it was a thing that people spoof QR codes. I get it, right? For those who have such concerns. Well, a solution to that is to just give you a link. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. The link, to those of you who would rather go about it that way, is link.ag.fan/Sam Webb. That is link.ag.fan/Sam Webb to download the Autograph app. All right? So download the Autograph app that way, and you'll be off and running, enjoying all of the amenities of the Autograph app, including the film studies that go up on Wednesday. And last but not least, one more programming note. We will be doing the Buckeye Breakdown next week, breaking down the first 5 or 6 games, however many it is, of the Ohio State season. We're going to play by ear. The original plan was to do 2 Buckeye breakdowns, but given how you fans are really feeling right now, we may just do it for the first Buckeye week, for the first bye week, because you know right now you guys aren't feeling so frisky. I get it. You know the mood isn't the same. I understand. You know, you're feeling a little different about things at this point. So, given that, we are kind of adjusting things. We may just do the Buckeye breakdown just for this coming bye week. As such, if you can help fund the Buckeye breakdown, I'm going to put the link to the PayPal page for Al's Buckeye breakdown, because we got to fund it. Putting it in the description, putting it in the comment section. If you can help fund Al's Buckeye breakdown, go ahead and go to that PayPal page now and help fund the Buckeye breakdown that we're going to do next week. $1, $5, $10, whatever you can spare to help fund the Buckeye breakdown. It's Al's birthday. Help fund the Buckeye breakdown on Al's birthday. And we'll get it done. And we'll see you next time on the next edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown, focused on the offense with Al Borges. We'll see you then.
Blue.